Town, St. Annie, St. Albans, in the Molynes area, for those of you who are Jamaicans, in the Kingston, in Montego Bay, Granville, Albion, Duncans, in Falmouth, Hague. So a lot of these are being identified as hotspots for volatile violence communities. Once the guidance counselor and the teacher identifies the child who is at risk for violence by a series of criteria, they're referred into the program and they stay with us for 1 year. So usually we're doing after-school activities that include reading, learning support via the computer, as well as regular methodology. We do sports and cultural arts to teach the life skills. And we have a high level of parenting and family counseling and home visits, along with nutritional support. So generally, we also do teacher training for the teachers of which the children are referred. We're currently operating at 4 centers. And as I said, 22 feeder schools feed the children in. For our COVID response, we've had to redesign the process, and we're mostly focusing on the needs that have been identified in our parent phone survey, which we've just completed for the 220 families on the program. And the main need, as Wendy pointed out right now, is food. Most of them have lost their jobs. So we're focusing on care packages, which include food items, but we're dubbing the program right now for this term as just simply feeding and reading. For the reading aspect, we have been working in small WhatsApp groups with our children. We have 44 facilitators in these various vulnerable communities, and we've attached 6 children per facilitator, and they're currently working on doing small group WhatsApp video teaching. Our biggest challenge, as you can imagine, is data and having access to Wi-Fi, but we're working through the kinks. And as our name suggests, the resiliency program is one that is innovative and inspired to be able to rise to the challenge. And we've had a great response from the families. They're extremely grateful. The AFJ grant specifically is targeted for the communities in Montego Bay. So we're currently sending out care packages to Granville, Albion, Mount Salem, Barracks Road, have just received as we speak. And in there is also a reading book for the children and worksheets, and we're continuing to work with them. So there's extreme gratitude coming from all levels at community level. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Scott. That was lovely. We'd like to introduce Kelly Magnus now from Fight for Peace International. She is, our grant funds were used to execute a book club, which I'm sure she'll tell you all about.
Thanks, Francis, and good afternoon, AFJ board, staff, and other grantees. This event always feels really special to me, so I'm happy that it's still happening, even though it's virtual. AFJ funds a book club in our program, the Up Unity and Peace program, which is a violence prevention program that runs in about 6 communities downtown Kingston. And we have a whole raft of other programs that cover sport, education, youth leadership, and psychosocial support. But what I have always loved about the book club is that it's a part of the program that really is less structured and allows young people to thrive as they would if they lived in any other community in Kingston. Like Kim has said, we've tweaked our program to address the immediate COVID response needs. So we've done a combination of moving our programming online, yes, even the sports, and then also providing emergency services, food drops, referrals to state services for our young people and their parents. But I am really, really grateful to AFJ for allowing us funding to continue the book club, because what has been really challenging in communities that are riddled with poverty and violence is that so many of the protective factors are being taken away to provide healthcare responses, and there are very few opportunities remaining for kids to just be kids. And we're seeing increasing needs. So, access to education being a huge priority, hunger being a huge priority, but also a great deal of fear and anxiety. And so we're very grateful that we're allowed to continue the book club, which allows us to provide psychosocial support through bibliotherapy. We have a trained psychologist who participates in the book club. It allows us to create opportunities for engagement between kids and their families. But I think even more important at this time, it just allows space for kids to be kids and to let their imaginations run free. So thank you very much for your continued support.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for that. I'd like to introduce, last but not at all least, Ruth Danke, who is the Executive Director of the Rosetown Foundation. I said Rosetown because apparently it's 2 words. Could you tell us how the AFJ funding has impacted the people of your community, please?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here as always. And I must say, listening to my colleagues, it's always so inspiring. You know, you get caught up in your little world and all that you're doing there. And it is so wonderful to hear the other work that's going on and to really feel like you're part of a real movement to make a difference in lives. So thank you. Thank you, colleagues. You've inspired me. Rosetown has benefited from a long association with AFJ. We have been supported in our after-school program over the years. Of course, right now there's no school. So our after-school program has morphed into a small, hands-on support for the children. Luckily, we have 2 locations that have internet access. One of them has a small computer lab. So what we've been doing is having small groups of children come in and they get support in doing their schoolwork. Many of their schools are sending homework. Unfortunately, most of the parents are not able to assist in the completion of the work. What they've been doing is just sending it to my staff and then sending the children and say, do something. So we have been able to continue that program. One of the big pluses, as was mentioned, not only access to education, but hunger is an issue. So we've been able to provide meals for these children as well, which makes a big difference. And then we also work with the parents. So we bring in the parents or parent support groups.
Is anybody else able to hear Ruth? No, Ruth, you're breaking up, I'm afraid. So I'm unfortunately going to have to move on. And we know that you're doing some excellent work in the community there in Rosetown. Are you back?
Learning program for them.
No.
Okay, all right. Well, sorry about that. We would have loved to hear a little bit more about the Rosetown program as well, although we do know that Ruth is working very hard there in the community. And I know that her sewing program has been making masks for distribution around the community, and the Rosetown Library is also open for small groups to be able to access the internet and be able to get on with some work in that way.
Making masks, yes. Our children.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, for all the great work you're doing. I do want to say a quick shout out to the New York office and the team, Karen's team, who put all of this together while in lockdown in New York, one of the scariest places on earth right now. And we're so very proud of them and so very happy that we can continue this work. I mean, I know I'm delighted to know that we're still getting that sponsorship and that support from our American friends in New York and around the world. And I'd like to introduce you now over to Ambassador Pamela Bridgewater, who will be doing some closing remarks for us. Pamela, you need to unmute.
The New York office has muted us.
While we wait for Ambassador Bridgewater, would any of our directors like to say a couple of words in closing?
Well, could we just have Pam Lawson say a word from the JSPCA since she's right here?
Certainly.
Pam Lawson, could you just say a word about the JSPCA?
Sure. Thank you very much, Dr. Tanner. I want to thank you all for the donation. I do. And just
so I could
to let you all know that we're going to continue trying to help the animals as best as we can in this time, as people are abandoning them when they need them most.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, those of you in our listener audience, we do hope this ceremony has given you a good sense of the important work the AFJ continues to do across Jamaica. This is where the rubber hits the road. I say that every year when we're presenting grants in our traditional format in Kingston. This is where our work really shows how it's impacting people's lives in Jamaica. Your support of our organization is very important, and we are grateful for all you do to help us fulfill our mission for Jamaica. Ambassador Bridgewater?
Still trying. Do you have me yet?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, grant recipients, Friends of Jamaica. The American Friends of Jamaica is so very pleased to have awarded to the organizations and communities you represent financial support that will enhance and enlarge the invaluable and impressive work in which you are engaged. Our President, Wendy Hart, Executive Director, Karen Chung, Board of Directors, and the many Friends of Jamaica in the United States and in Jamaica have, through their efforts and generous contributions, enabled us to support your efforts in education, community development, health, economic empowerment, peace building, violence mitigation, and other activities. As you know, our funding of projects was impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, and AFJ's decision to direct some financial support to Jamaica's efforts to mitigate COVID-19. Nonetheless, AFJ decided that we would fund those grant proposals that rose to the top of need and had the greatest potential for maximum transforming and lasting impact on recipient communities. I congratulate warmly each of you to whom we have entrusted our support. I extend sincere appreciation to Francis Fulton, our program analyst who has visited you and learned firsthand about your programs and projects, to Dr. Laura Tanner, our grants committee chair, to Monica Ladd, and to all of those who have reviewed scores of very worthy projects. We all strive for a better educated, healthier, and economically empowered Jamaica, and you are poised to help ensure those outcomes. A big up also to our New York office. We thank you. And to our recipients once more, we know that our faith in you is well placed and that we shall see benefits and lasting impact for those whom you represent and for Jamaica, land we love. I wish each of you Godspeed and good health. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone. That's the end of our program. Thank you for taking the time. And we look forward to connecting again soon.